Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Willmott with Willmott and Associates, and I have the privilege of interviewing not only the world's greatest dad, but the founder of the world's premier HR search firm, Clark Willmott. Hi, Dad.
Hey, nice to be with you and with everybody else.
Yeah, well, thank you for your time for this much anticipated interview with a living legend. All right, so question one, you ready?
I don't know if I could, follow the living legend concept, but go ahead.
All right, don't sell yourself short.
Okay.
Why did you want to focus on the placement of human resource professionals initially back in 1982 when you formed Willmott? And how have you seen the corporate HR function evolve through the years?
Well, for me, it was because my background was in human resources. I was fortunate enough to enter the corporate world of HR at Honeywell and then another company called C.R. Bard in Billerica, Massachusetts. So it was pure pleasure for me to be in the function. Now, how has it evolved? It's dramatic. At one point in time, I would look at the, quote, personnel function as opposed to HR as basically kind of a record keeper, had to deal with things that I would consider to be policy oriented in terms of discipline or those kinds of things, or staffing, because the company was growing. Honeywell was growing dramatically when I was there, so staffing was very important. So we started being very oriented to kind of more traditional in that time personnel kind of issues. What's evolved, and it's a very interesting evolving, is that we have moved from that to being part of kind of the whole business side of the corporate world or even nonprofit, where in fact we are playing a strategic role in HR. And I'll give you some examples of this, which I found very interesting. One of our heroes in our profession is Russ Campanello. Russ, I've known, since he started out. He was in the agency business many years ago and started out at Wang Lab as a recruiter. And it was at the time that Wang was growing dramatically. He went from there to Lotus. And one day he got promoted to vice president of HR. And one day I turned on the Today Show, and here's Russ Campanello on the Today Show. Why was he there? Well, Russ was at that point in time concerned that there weren't going to be enough software engineers to meet the needs, the corporate needs of all the growing engineering companies. And he was concerned about, with Lotus's growth, that could they meet the staffing needs. So he announced, and he was the first company to announce that they were going to provide health benefits to people who were gay and that previously were not covered under health insurance, corporate health insurance. This was a first, and it was a business decision based, just greater than just the right thing to do. It was they wanted to be in a competitive situation to meet their staffing needs. So that was one example. Another example was Digital Equipment Corporation, which was growing dramatically. And Digital made the decision to make a corporate pledge to the theme of valuing differences. And again, it was built from the HR perspective on the basis of the recruitment of people of color, diversity, and it became ingrained in their culture. And it was very, very successful. And sometimes we looked at it and said, is this, does this fit into the business model? And the answer was, it was a very successful business model. So the change in HR has gone from a personnel function, more gatekeeper, to what I consider to be a business partner where we are today.
Okay, excellent. Nice job. Question 2. Core values are incredibly important at Willmott and Associates. How did you and others settle on these values? And how do you feel they shaped our business philosophy and brand in the marketplace?
Again, it relates to the importance of giving people who are looking to us information that helps their needs more greater than just simply finding a job for them. We do not find jobs for everybody who comes to us. And so what I want to have as part of our core value is we are giving them information in terms of their resume, information in terms of how they present, how can we help you, but also, information about something that I believe very strongly about. And that is, in this day and age, when you have such tremendous technology change, where companies now are growing like weeds, and then a new technology comes along, and all of a sudden, that company, which was growing dramatically, Data General, DEC, whatever, Wang, collapses. And so here are these folks who are now out of work. I believe that everybody should look at themselves and say, I will never be unemployed. But the model is different. Sometimes you're going to be a W-2 to a corporation, and other times you're going to be on your own. And this is going to happen. It's a whole new kind of what's going on in the world. And so now it's important that you are constantly out networking, building relationships outside of your own corporate world, and doing things like participating in LinkedIn, and using, the Willmott and Associates as hey, kind of giving you boosting and, keeping you positive and helping you understand the importance of that kind of work. So no longer do you see yourself as a W-2. You see yourself at times a W-2, and then the other times you're going to be on your own. So that's how I view it and how we can help.
Yeah, and I know you've always educated me on, even when, don't get too comfortable, you don't want to be siloed at any moment. You always need to be out there.
Right. Yeah, it's critically important, but unfortunately, it's a little bit of a trap because we're so busy doing our day-to-day stuff at work that we don't put in the time to continue to network, and so we kind of have to start all over again. And I just strongly encourage that we change that behavior, do things like connecting through associations or just roundtable. That Willmott and Associates, we used to, and not as much now, but certainly with the coronavirus, but we used to have regional luncheons. So we'd go out to 495 and just gather together HR people from different companies in their neighborhood, just so that they know, folks, and got used to that concept of networking and what have you. So it's very, very important.
Yeah. Okay, next question. How do you see these core values guiding Willmott and Associates through some of the most turbulent and transformative times our country has experienced, i.e. diversity and inclusion, necessity to work from home, building a business culture based on virtual interactions, etc.?
Well, and I would use Jeff as a model and looking at Jeff versus Clark Willmott. Jeff has been with Willmott for a number of years and has done so remotely. And now all our employees are basically, and not because of the virus, but have been working remotely. There's lots of pluses to it in terms of more involvement with your family. You think of me, I've been fortunate to live in Marblehead, Massachusetts for 40 years, and I was commuting to Lexington. And if you think about it, boy, that was a lot of hours on the road. And so Jeff now has decided, he did himself, that he's living on the South Shore. And so he decided he wanted to be with his family more. And maybe that's because he didn't see much of Dad, because Dad was leaving at 7 in the morning and coming home at 6. Or maybe he appreciated the fact that he didn't have to see his father. I don't know. Who knows? But
It was all good.
this model is, I see it with Jeff and I see it with others. And this is our model. Most of our employees are remote. And that's very healthy. Now with Zoom and other technologies, we can stay in touch. And the environment that we are very much into a sharing environment. Everybody who comes to see us is immediately is put into our computers and with information to be shared by everybody. So whatever jobs they're working on, they can go into this database and gather up candidates. So and the reward system is also oriented to helping each other. And I think because of people like Dan Hill and others in the organization, certainly Jane Adriani, who many of you know, have truly been part of this culture, which is really amazing. It's very collaborative. And I have to say, even though I embrace this, I don't know if I always, you could ask them and say, well, what was it like to work for Clark? Who the heck knows? But I always, whatever it is, this is a cultural belief that I have that is working extremely well.
I have to say I I didn't necessarily work for you on a day-to-day basis, but when I do watch The Office or when my kids have The Office on, I do see a number of similarities between you and Michael Scott.
Oh, yeah. Is that good or bad? I don't know.
It's good. It's all good.
Isn't that filmed in Scranton?
It is.
So now
Where Mom grew up. It's fitting.
I give a plug to my wife of 55 years, Sheila Willmott, who grew up in Scranton and migrated to Boston through Simmons College, and that's how I happened to catch up with her. And we've had a terrific ride, by the way. I mean, it's been a wonderful, wonderful ride. So
good, excellent. Okay, next question. How do you see the human resource function evolving and becoming even more critical to the success of an organization as businesses establish new norms engaging their employees and customers?
Well, I mean, clearly there's a variety of different levels. Certainly, you look at HR now in terms of things like pay practices and the evolving, kind of concern about are we paying people properly or fairly. There's a whole bunch of issues in terms of change. Obviously, remote learning or remote activities changes a lot in terms of, so even with our own culture, it's critical that we participate as much as we can, not necessarily in group meetings, but we have those probably every month or a month and a half, but also on Zoom. I mean, I look at Zoom as from the future point of view, not just in terms of our business, but also in terms of our school systems. And, we're now just touching the surface of this. And this has enormous opportunities for us, as well as, because now we can also expand very easily outside of the area and, build the business, that way.
Okay, Dad, great job. That's going to conclude our interview.
Oh, hold on. I'm not finished.
Okay.
First off, as many of you know, and I hope you believe what I'm about to say. Well, first off, I'm getting older. So my memory isn't as good as it used to be. But we have been so blessed to live in a town called Marblehead. And I tell everybody, I don't care who you are, you know, if you are in Marblehead, my telephone number is 781-631-0667. And I encourage you to simply call and say, hey, we're going to be in town. Could we stop by? Or I will give you a tour of Marblehead. We're right downtown. We can do the Fort Sioux. We can do all sorts of different views of the town. So please take me up. I'd love to see you guys.
Dad, you realize this video is going to have millions of viewers.
Well, I hope it does, and because I'm a very lonely man.
All right, good. Okay, everybody out there, call my mom and dad. They're tons of fun.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Dad. Love you.
Bye, team.
All right, take care.